Hi, I'm Brian.
Hey everybody, just getting a quick video here of the effects of a pretty good storm here. We just had a pretty hard storm for a pretty significant amount of time. I don't know, an hour or more. Pretty hard rain. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder. This is our wash. You've kind of seen this. I just sunk a little bit. So this is what happens. There's water flowing. Oh boy, there's a water pipe coming. That's interesting. So that I believe would be our water pipe. So it comes across under here. So it's not quite underwater or underground everywhere, you can see. So there's that. We actually have lost water at the trailer for the moment. But this pipe comes across, must run under here all the way, I guess, over to us. The problem is there's a spigot right after the wash here, and I just turned it on and it worked. So, but there's a view of the wash. So there's the wash. Wow. I can actually hear the sides of the wash collapsing. I just heard a bunch fall over there. Wow. That's a big deal. So, that's what happens to the walls of our wash when it rains hard. So here is the other side of the wash. And as you can see, the water kind of does a number on here. There's our first spigot on our property. I was thinking there might be a broken pipe or tube there, but that's actually a tree root, I believe. So that spigot right there actually works, which means the water is making it from the well house, which is across the wash, to here. So that's good news, I guess, but what that means is that somewhere beyond here, unless there are multiple pipes that come across, but I assume there's only one. If there's only one, then that means that somewhere between this spigot, which is the first one on our property, and there are 3 other spigots on our property.
I think I found it.
Okay, Pam may have found something.
I got stuff attacking me. So, okay, look over there. Look over there. Something.
Oh my.
Yeah, and you can see right here. Look down here. There's a hose exposed. That's probably our water. So I thought that might be our water running out right there, because look how
I don't think so. Try and take y'all along on this journey with me here. I'm not, you can see the wash has already kind of stopped running. It's still sprinkling, so I won't, if it gets too much, I might have to put my phone away, but I'm walking up the wash here because I'm trying to find a spot where our water line is exposed and broken or squeezed, kinked, choked somehow, right? Which would not allow our water to get through, of course. So I'm just walking along the edge because from up above, I could actually see our water line, which is just a tube really. I could see it exposed along the wall in a few places. So it goes kind of in and out of the wall and in and out of the ground. And I guess that's just over the years from the wall kind of crumbling away a little bit, it has gotten exposed, and it's kind of random how it's happened. So I have to walk up here to find a spot where that hose is exposed. I'm about at it right here. I actually see a kink that could potentially be the problem. That the simplest thing for me, the best news for me, I suppose, is if there's just a kink in the tube. This is interesting. So, oh, I see what's happened. So here we go. So this is my water line, right? My water line is actually coming from this direction over here. The wash is to my right. The water line is coming this way. And here it just turns and goes this way. This has broken. It's turned and comes down here, and boom, there's a coupling. And there's water coming out of here. This hose right here, this should continue along this wall and meet up. Ooh, oh, a piece of the wall just fell off. This tube should keep going, and I assume meet up with some other tube somewhere that I can't see at the moment. So I'm gonna have to put my phone away. I need some hands, but that appears to be my problem. There is water running out of this, and that is like my faucet is on right now. So I'm gonna try and find where this tube belongs. Okay, so it would appear that this tube right here, which now goes over there and is running water, I can even hear it in there, and it's kind of kinked. That might be actually slowing the water coming out. This tube here was running along this wall. You can even see where it was. You can see the indent in the wall. So it was running along this wall, got exposed here from the wall falling, and it got exposed. It was probably draped here now. And I think what has happened, sorry about the focus. There we go. I think what has happened is it was probably draped somehow along this wall because it had been exposed. And this might be a fresh fall. And if this fell just now during this storm, this tubing right here runs right here and under here. And there's kind of a coupling. There's a coupling on the end of that one over there. It probably coupled up with one over here. And when this wall fell, it probably broke the two apart. So I'm gonna have to go, I'm gonna go shut my water off at the well house so that this tube stops running. And I'm gonna have to dig this out a little bit because I just sink in here when I step in here, and I gotta get that tube out of there. And hopefully I can just put those two back together. Hopefully nothing's actually broken. They just got disconnected, or a fitting needs to be replaced or something, and that's all doable, I suppose. So that's next step. I'm gonna shut the water off because I think I've spotted the leak, and try and dig out that end. Okay, so I'm back. It turns out, so that hose was trapped under this here. So I guess that fall is just happened during this storm. And my guess is all this tubing was at least, if it wasn't in the wall the whole way, it was at least probably in the wall right here. And when this section fell, there just happened to be a coupling in there where the hose was extended, right? The tubing was extended. If that was, well, actually it didn't have to be right there, I guess. When that fell, these two came apart. So the good news, let's say, is that these two really just have to be put back together. It's not really broken, it's just disconnected. The bad news is that this tubing really should run in the ground, in that wall right there. And it used to run inside that wall. But over the years, as that falls away, it's now all getting exposed, and that will only get worse, right? So the bad news is this whole thing probably needs to move, right? Farther onto the property, out of this wash. And that's a big big deal, I guess. And right now, the short-term problem is that I really can't just pick these two up and pull them together and tighten these little clamps down, because they don't really want to reach each other, because they used to do it along this wall here. So it's not as simple as just picking them up and putting them together. I actually think I need some sort of extension now. So that's where I'm at. Let's see what we can make out of that. Hey everybody. So first, I just want to thank my soon-to-be brother-in-law for a cool little logo that I think you should see somewhere down in this region somewhere. Not that we're pros at this or anything, obviously, but that's kind of a cool little thing that he did for us. So you should see that in our videos from now on, our little logo. So thanks, Scott. Also, I'd like to say something I forgot to say in the last video, and you'll only get this if you made it this far, of course, but I wanted to say thanks to everybody that's been watching and commenting. I get a lot out of some of those comments, actually, going back and forth. That was kind of one of the reasons behind doing this stuff in the first place. There's a few reasons for doing it, but that's one, is to kind of throw some issues out there and have people kind of comment on them and talk back and forth about potential solutions and everything. So I do learn stuff by talking with people and talking through those comments. So we really do appreciate it, and please keep watching. It's the next morning here. You just got to look at what I discovered yesterday in our wash. And today I am going to tackle kind of the quick fix of connecting those two tubes back together with a little bit of extra to connect them back together. But and that should get us water back at the trailer, which is nice for now. But that really is a temporary solution. So I wanted to give you a little bit of perspective on where we're at. Number one, keep in mind that everything you saw yesterday, everything you saw on the video you just saw, wherever that pipe was exposed, you know, that obviously used to be all underground and safe, let's say, right? So when that was put in, that was perfectly fine. So what you're seeing is the result of erosion from that wash running. So the real issue here, the bigger issue, the longer term issue, is that we've got a few decisions to make. Number one, in relation to that water source, do we continue to use it at all, right? I mean, so I think I said early on in some of our videos that water catchment was one of the things on our list, but it was a little lower down the list because we had well water. Well, this is one of the drawbacks, I suppose, of being on a well, and that well being a good distance away from us, is that distance is the potential for problems. So we have to make a decision of whether we want to continue with the well water. That's number one. Number two, if we do, obviously that whole water line has to be relocated, right? Because it's exposed. So there's several problems there. So my quick fix, you know, that'll be fine for now, but how long? You know, what happens the next time? That tube is just laying in the wash now. So what happens the next storm? Is that okay? If it makes it through that, you know, in a few months, we're gonna freeze. And that's a problem for that exposed tubing. So really, you know, in the very near future, I've got to move that whole water line, which means digging it up, digging a new trench, lengthening the water line just to move it and put it back underground. So that's a pretty sizable project. So we've got to decide whether that's even worth doing, or whether we transition, whether we move that water catchment, you know, goal up on our list, maybe to now. So we start talking about getting collection tanks and maybe an initial delivery if we can't collect water right away. But so that's a decision we have to make. So pertaining to the water, the next decision is the land in general. I need to get a professional out here, seeing how much erosion is going on and how quickly it's going on. Obviously, when we got the land, none of that tubing that you just saw was exposed. So the erosion's happening pretty quickly, especially in that wash. And there's other places on our property that have fissures and things so that are growing. So I need to get a professional out here to find out. I know we're a little far down the road for this, but we are where we are. So I don't know exactly who that professional is. I'm thinking maybe Army Corps of Engineers. I'm going to start with the county by calling the county and see who I can get out here. But I need a professional to assess our site here and tell us kind of what our options are and what their best prediction of the future, you know, erosion progression might be around here. Where on our land is a good spot to do things. I know I've already drawn up a site plan and everything, but I mean, we can modify that if we need to, but I mean, I just need to find out. And again, yeah, I probably should have done this even before we bought the property, but now we need to know, can we build? Where can we build? Where is safe? How much erosion is going to happen over time? Where's it going to happen? So I obviously don't know the answers to those questions, so I'm going to be looking for a professional to try and answer some of those questions. I obviously don't want to leave. I love it here, but if this place is going to fall apart, then that's something we need to know.
I love it here too.
So that's the next step. Hopefully it's not a huge deal. Hopefully it's just making smart choices. That's okay. We can do that. We can modify our plans if we need to. So I hope it's that simple. But I need a professional. I just can't. I don't know those things. So that's what we're going to be up to. I'll give you an update as soon as I can on the quick fix on the water. I think we can get water back to the trailer pretty quickly. I don't think that's a huge issue, but we've got some longer term concerns that we've got to deal with. So stay tuned. It's gonna be okay. It'll all be fine. Stay tuned. Cross your fingers. Bye-bye.